I'm Jordan, and you're watching Fixbook.
Hey guys, today it's snowing, and today I'm showing you how to replace an axle in a Nissan Maxima. Okay guys, and in today's project, I used a pair of side cutters or dikes, ratchet with a 14mm, 19mm, another 19mm, flathead screwdriver, a 36mm, and the new nut that came with the new axle was a 32mm, but I just put the old one back on, so 36mm socket, and then a ball joint or tie rod breaker upper, that's the best way to say it, then a 17mm combination wrench, a torque wrench, and of course a crossbar, something with a 21mm socket to remove your wheel, and of course a jack stand and a jack as well. And with all that said, we'll go ahead and begin today's project. It's a 99 Nissan Maxima, and I'm using my phone today because I don't want to bring out the old DSLR in the snow. So let's go ahead and take a look at today's project. Hey guys, so I am at a school and it is snowing outside, so this is going to be pretty much a quick overview video. It's a quick project I'm doing for a friend here. We got your axle, and this is your driver's side. And I saw a video that kind of looks like what I'm showing you now, but I thought it wasn't as good as it could be. And I'm going to give you all the information you need to know to replace this guy, and you're going to be full confident doing it once you watch this video. So the first thing you're going to want to do, step one so to speak, is lift up the car, get you a jack under the toe claw, which is going to be this guy right here. You'll see there's a little hole through it. I don't know if you can see my finger sticking out, but that's a good sturdy spot on the car. And then go ahead and get your jack stand setting right there. So we've got it sturdy, so if it falls, we're going to be okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is your axle stud is going to be sticking through right there, and you have a 36mm axle nut. And basically that thing's gonna be on there pretty good. So I use my impact. You can use a breaker bar and a big old pipe on the end to get that done. And the way you'll be able to do that is you lift up the car. I think you can pop that hubcap off without lifting up the car. So put your wheel on with the hubcap off, and then while it's setting on the ground, you can get that 36mm socket on that bolt there. If you've already got it lifted up and you have a friend nearby, just have them hold the brakes, and then you'll be able to take the axle nut off as well. Now, next thing you're going to do is we have a tie rod end, which is going to be sitting right here, and it's going to be this guy right here. There's a 19mm castle nut sitting on the end of this guy. I used my impact to bump them off there, and you've got a cotter pin, and you're going to have this in front of your axle nut as well, where it sticks through a hole in the stud, and it looks like this right here. And basically it's going to be bent in such a way that if that castle nut ever loosened up, it's going to block it from coming off the stud. So if you understand that, basically you just need to straighten this guy out. You can see he's kind of bent up. Here's the one from the axle nut, he's real bent up. Just straighten him out in such a way that you can pull off, and you use a pair of pliers. These aren't going to cut that pin, so you just use it and pull and push and pry and pull that pin out. So the next thing you'll do after that, once you've got this tie rod in guy, is you'll stick the castle nut on the end of this tie rod, get you a hammer, beat on it real hard, hit up, and make sure you have that castle nut on the end so you don't damage the stud here. And if that doesn't work, this is a ball joint or tie rod end breaker looser. That's the best way I know to explain it. I got Harbor Freight. I'm sure you can get them at your other specialty tool stores as well, like Northern Tools, eBay, something like that. And basically the way this guy works is you'll stick them here, you'll get this bottom piece on the end of that stud, and then you'll spin this piece, and this is going to go like that, and it's going to break loose. That's if you can't get it done with this guy right here. The next thing you have to do once you've taken care of that guy is you've got two bolts sitting right here. You've got a nut on this side and a nut on this side, and then the bolt is coming through like that. And it's a 17 or 19mm head on this side, and then it's going to be a 19mm head on your nut side, I'm pretty sure. Don't hold me to that, but basically you'll hold with a wrench on the one side, and then you will use your fastener and take it off on this side. Then also, go ahead, while you're getting all your tools ready, spray the threads with PB Blaster. That will assist you in getting those two guys out there. Once you've got this guy, your axle nut stud, once you've got those fasteners off, this guy is just going to come forward, and your axle will be sitting inside. Let's see if I can get him back to where he was. Okay, and I've got it situated like this now. Your axle will be sitting inside, and you can push up, and you should be able to push out. You can be careful, just bang on it with a hammer, get them out that way as well. And then you're just gonna work around and pull them out just like that. Now we're ready to remove our axle. So I'll go ahead and get my drain pan here. I'm gonna shove them underneath there where the fluid's gonna pour out, and then we'll see the axle coming out. Okay guys, and here we are, we're looking at this axle, and you can look in there and see where my axle came out. I use a combination of this big flathead screwdriver. What I'd do is I'd reach up under here, and you can see I would get behind there and kind of push, and I was unsuccessful that way. What you really need is a big pry bar like this, and with me only lifting up off the ground this much, I wasn't able to get a good angle with this big old pry bar that you normally use. So what I ended up doing was just grabbing on this guy with both hands and pull, and that basically worked as a hammer as to pull this guy out. And you would not do that with a good axle, because that can damage the axle. But this one is all tore up to pieces, and we're replacing it, so it's not necessarily a bad thing to be worried about damaging this thing since we're replacing it. So now I'm just gonna work on getting the new one in, and I'll tell you the strategy that I use for getting our new one in there, because that can be a tricky thing sometimes, because you have this little C-clip around the end of the backside. I'll show you that here in a minute, and it can be tricky getting your new axle back into the hole there. So we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Okay guys, the next thing we're doing here is we're comparing our two axles and making sure we got the right axle. Now you can see it's different here. That's for ABS and no ABS. This actually isn't going to make a difference. You can see we've got the ribs here and not here. What you're looking for is whether you have a limited slip or not. On the limited slip one, there will be two different splines. It'll be like this, and then another one will be sticking out here. And we can see on ours, you just got the one spline there. So that's how you can tell whether or not you have that limited slip transmission. I think most of them are non-limited, but you'll find out when you take your old axle out. So now we're going to work on getting our axle back in. Hey guys, now we're putting our new axle in, and this guy is going to be really difficult to get back in there into your transmission or transaxle. And one trick I do here is, this is the new clip that goes on the end of this guy, and basically the idea is it sits on there, and then it's difficult to pull out because this guy will overlap a little bit, and if you try to pull it out, it's going to get stuck on this thing right here. That's the idea behind how this works. Now, one thing you can do to make it a little bit easier is, you see how big this gap is? My finger just fit right through that gap. It's hard for me to demonstrate with just the one hand here. And this is the clip out of the old one. Now you see my finger doesn't really fit through this one. I've made it tighter. What I've done is I've held it down with a pair of dikes and beat on it with a hammer down here on the asphalt, and I've made that gap smaller. It's going to make my life quite a bit easier. What I'm going to do is I'm then going to stick this back over, fit him on there, and he's still going to overlap to where he'll stop the axle from coming out, but it's going to make a whole lot easier putting this into the axle back into your transmission. So here in just a moment, I'll show you anything else if there's any more difficulties. Okay guys, and I just want to show you, here's a shot of that clip once I installed it back on, and it's been made smaller, and you can see it still stayed bended there. You may think when you install it back on it's going to lose some of that closeness you did there. I don't know if that's the best vocabulary, but that's the best way I can describe it. So now I'm going to go ahead and try and put this guy on here and see how successful we are. Hey guys, now I finally got my axle in flush with the transmission, and the way I was able to achieve this was I was really trying to avoid it, but I removed our strut. You'll notice there's a strut missing there. But you know, the thing is, I spent 10 minutes trying to get this stupid thing in. It took me 2 minutes to remove the strut, and then I was able to line this guy straight up and hammer him in with a nut on the end. And guys, I know some of you are already cringing, some of you automotive guys, but sometimes it's necessary, and yes, you could possibly damage the axle. It's not likely as long as you're really careful and you just beat on it like there, and what you'll do is you'll just have it holding it straight and make sure it's straight all the way down, and then beat on it with the nut on there, and that's gonna push it the extra amount in. Now you need to know how to get the strut out of your way, because you've got this brake line sitting here and it's sitting up something like that. And basically what you do is you're gonna take your flathead screwdriver and a hammer. We'll come over here to my demonstration area. And here we have our piece, and our other piece that's going to be sitting right like this. So basically, you're going to have this little clip sitting in there, and the hose is going to be stuck in there, and you're going to take your flathead screwdriver, and sorry guys, I'm really struggling here with the one hand, but you're going to get under there. You can see I bent this up, and then you'll get on the other side and just bang, and this clip will pop out, and then your hose will be free. And then we're simply just going to come to the top. We have 3 14mm nuts, and there's going to be one here, here, here. Just loosen those up. Now with your left hand, go ahead and loosen up on the nuts here, while you're right here with your right hand holding on to your strut assembly there. So basically it just lowers out. The stud here was painted yellow. If you need to, if it's not painted, just take some white out or something, or just remember, figure out a way to remember which stud is closest to you, this one right here, so you put it back in the right way. And guys, the strut really wasn't that difficult taking out. I thought it may take me 20 minutes or so, but it just took 2 seconds really. So yeah, you go ahead and get this guy out of your way, get that axle lined up straight so you can beat him back in there into your transmission. Again, be really careful. And here in just a moment, we'll see if I have anything else to say. Hey guys, so I'm just working on the other side here. Here's our other axle. Now the only difference between the other side over there and this side is we have 3 bolts, and the passenger side, that's the side I'm working on now, is not for the faint of heart. First of all, if you're going to do this with a jack stand, you're going to need a shop jack, and you're going to raise it up right there. There's a beam going across. It's like a major body part, and lift up on that. You're going to have to jack this thing up as high as you can get it, because you're definitely going to need the big old pry bar, which is sitting down in there if you can see him. So and basically you're gonna have to get that pry bar between the bottom guy right here and just really go at it. If you don't have a really big jack, if you just have like a little jack that you got in a $50 jack set, it's not gonna work. You need a good shop jack to be able to do this side. And then the way I got these bolts off, the bolts come through on this side when you're looking at the car this way. So what you're going to do is you're going to reach back there with your right hand, and the bottom 2 are pretty easy. It's 12mm bolts, and you'll just use I used a ratcheting wrench. You can use a combination wrench. And then the other one, I came from the top. The bottom 2, I came from the bottom. The top one, I came up with the thing there, and my ratcheting combination wrench. And then I was able to take this one out first with my fingers. Don't take the bottom 2 out first, because they're the easiest, and then do this one. Make sure you get this loose and take this out with your fingers while it's still easy, and then remove the bottom 2. And then it's just you know, a whole lot of pulling like this. I actually pulled the joint out of the thing there, so I was just pulling on rubber, and that's okay because we're replacing this guy. And yes, this job is not for the faint of heart. It's pretty much the same, except you gotta, you know, take those bolts out and really fight to get this out of the bracket, which is deep in there. So yeah, that pretty much concludes today's project, and thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the passenger side. It's the worser of the 2. Okay guys, now as far as putting everything back together, it's pretty simple. Just go ahead and get this guy hooked back up, get this guy back in your thing, get your tie rod in back in there with your castle nut and cotter key. Also, the bolts, the nuts, get those guys back on there. Make sure you got those nuts up there good and tight. Also, one thing that I tend to forget to do is, you see this washer right here. Don't forget to put him in, because if you do, for one, you're gonna feel like your socket's shorter because the bolt's not gonna fit on there, and for number 2, the hole's gonna be way out here. You need this thing, because if you don't have it, then the hole's going to be far away, and this is kind of like a spacer. So with the nut on and the washer there, you're going to be able to fit the cotter key in there just right. So remember to put this washer on. Also, 217 foot-pounds is what I've heard for this axle nut here. So get yourself a torque wrench if you don't already have one. If you don't know what this is, if you don't know how to use it, learn how to. I don't think I have a video showing you how to use this. I'm sure I'll put one up soon now that I've just made this, though. Now that I've just said that. So yeah, look out for that video. Fixbook torque wrench. Again, Fixbook torque wrench. I'll show you how to use a torque wrench, where you can get one, that sort of thing. So again, 217 foot-pounds. That axle nut needs to be on there tight. So that's tighter than a lot of cars. So pretty much that's gonna pretty much conclude today's video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you would just like it, subscribe, and leave comments and stuff like that, that'd be great. Thanks, guys. See y'all next time.